Sunday Rose, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's daughter, just shared a post that felt different. Not the polished, picture-perfect celebrity family kind of post we're used to seeing, but something raw, something real. She didn't have to say much, just a few photos. One of her mom, smiling softly under Paris skies, and a simple caption, PFW film. But if you look closer, it's more than just Paris Fashion Week vibes. It's a quiet message about what's really going on behind the camera. Because while Nicole Kidman looked effortlessly elegant, the beige trench coat, the high bun, the warm smile, there was something else there. A woman holding herself together in public, while privately, her world was falling apart. And here's the part that hits hardest. That post came just days after Nicole filed for divorce from Keith Urban. What do you think that smile meant? Was it strength or heartbreak? Let me know in the comments, because that moment said more than any interview ever could.
Sunday's Paris post was beautiful on the surface. The city lights, the runway shots, the Dior prep. But for fans who followed Nicole and Keith for years, it carried emotional weight. This wasn't just a trip to Paris. It was one of the first times we'd seen Nicole out in public since her marriage ended. And to see her daughter capturing those moments, proudly showing her mom off to the world, that wasn't coincidence. That was love. Quiet, loyal, unspoken love. You could almost feel Sunday saying, "Mom's okay. She's still shining." But here's the twist. Even though Nicole looked confident, reports say she's been devastated behind the scenes. Sources close to her claim she's still processing how fast everything fell apart, and that she never expected Keith to walk away so suddenly. And honestly, when you look at the timeline, it's easy to see why she's struggling to move on.
The news broke on September 30, 2025. Nicole Kidman officially filed for divorce from Keith Urban after nearly 20 years of marriage. 2 decades together. In Hollywood time, that's basically a lifetime. Fans were stunned. Just months earlier, Nicole had posted a warm anniversary photo, writing, "Happy anniversary, baby." Keith even commented a heart emoji. Everything looked fine. But behind that perfect image, something had already changed. Sources say they'd been living apart since the start of summer, quietly, privately, while still putting on a united front for their daughters, Sunday and Faith. Keith was on his High and Alive world tour, traveling nonstop, while Nicole stayed home, focusing on her family and projects. Still, it was Keith who reportedly made the final call, and according to people close to the couple, Nicole was blindsided. Imagine that, building nearly 2 decades of life with someone, only to find out it's over when you thought you were trying to fix things. That's the kind of heartbreak you can't hide, no matter how glamorous your red carpet smile is.
It wasn't long before fans started piecing things together. In July, Keith made headlines when he abruptly ended a radio interview in Australia. The host had casually asked how he felt seeing his wife in romantic scenes with Zac Efron in the Netflix movie A Family Affair. Keith didn't answer. He just disconnected. And that was it. The team ended the call, and fans were left wondering if that tiny crack was a glimpse of the tension between them. Now, nobody knows exactly what was going on behind closed doors, but around that time, Nicole started appearing at events alone. Her Instagram shifted from couple posts to moments with her kids. She even shared summer photos with Sunday and Faith, but no Keith. And just like that, people realized something had changed.
In late July, Nicole applied for residency in Portugal. Sources said Keith planned to do the same, but he was on tour and couldn't attend his appointment. At first, it sounded like a normal paperwork thing, until you remember that Portugal was supposed to be their dream escape, their forever place. So when Nicole applied alone, fans started to wonder, was she preparing for life after Keith before anyone else knew? And maybe the most heartbreaking part, even though both of them said they'd keep their home in Nashville, it felt like Nicole was quietly building her next chapter without him. What do you think? Was that her way of letting go or just trying to start fresh?
After the filing, Nicole opened up in an interview with Harper's Bazaar, and honestly, her words were haunting. She said, "No matter how painful or difficult something is, there's always a way through." That line hit hard because she wasn't just talking about life, she was talking about survival. She also said that getting older helped her realize that change, no matter how uncomfortable, always comes with lessons. You could tell she was speaking from a place of deep reflection, maybe even heartbreak. And when you match that with Sunday's Paris post, the timing, the tone, the emotion, it all starts to make sense. Nicole might be hurting, but she's still standing tall, surrounded by her daughters, holding on to grace when everything else feels uncertain.
What many fans don't realize is that even before the public knew, Nicole and Keith had already finalized a parenting plan. According to reports, Nicole was listed as the primary residential parent, meaning Sunday and Faith would live mostly with her, about 306 days a year. Keith would have them every other weekend. The plan also made one thing very clear. Neither parent could badmouth the other, and both were required to encourage love and respect between the kids and their mom or dad. And honestly, that says a lot about who they are. Two parents trying to protect their children even when their marriage couldn't be saved.
Even after all that, after the paperwork, the interviews, and the headlines, Nicole stepped out in public, still wearing her wedding ring. It was late September. She attended an event in Los Angeles, her hand glittering under the lights. And that one photo sent the internet into a frenzy. Some fans said she was just honoring the past. Others believed she wasn't ready to say goodbye. But here's what's even more interesting. Around the same time, rumors started swirling that Keith might already be moving on. Nothing confirmed, but reports suggested he'd been seen spending time with another woman. And while that might just be gossip, those whispers can cut deep, especially for someone still healing.
That brings us right back to Sunday Rose and her Paris Fashion Week post. It wasn't just a daughter showing off her mom's outfit. It was symbolic. Nicole was smiling again, not for the cameras, but for her daughter. You could feel the shift. She looked softer, freer, maybe even a little hopeful. Sunday's caption said almost nothing, but her photos said everything. Family dinners, little laughs, in those tender in-between moments you don't usually see from a Hollywood icon. It's like she was reminding everyone, we're still here, and we're still okay. And that's what makes this story so powerful. Even in the middle of heartbreak, there's resilience, there's love. What about you? Do you think Sunday's post was a subtle way of defending her mom? Drop your thoughts. I read every comment. Looking at everything, the divorce, the distance, the quiet strength, it's clear Nicole isn't the same woman she was 20 years ago. She's been through the spotlight, the scandals, the pain, and somehow still finds a way to smile. Maybe that's what makes her story so relatable, because who hasn't had to rebuild themselves after losing someone they thought would be there forever? And as for Keith, well, only time will tell if he and Nicole can find peace apart. But one thing's for sure, their daughters, Sunday and Faith, seem to be their anchor through it all. And honestly, that's the part that gives this whole story hope. Nicole Kidman's life right now feels like a movie, full of beauty, heartbreak, and rebirth. But unlike the scripts she performs, this one doesn't have a director. She's writing it herself. So maybe the smile in Sunday's post wasn't just for the camera. Maybe it was for the future. Because even after everything, Nicole's proving that grace under pressure isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about choosing to keep shining anyway. What do you think? Is this Nicole's true comeback story or just another Hollywood illusion? Let me know in the comments.